Yeah, so it sounds like your journey, it really flowed.
Yes.
Kind of the universe kind of just directed you. That is really awesome.
It fully did.
There's a couple follow-up questions I have, but I guess the fat person in me wants to know, what kind of cake did Cake Boss make you?
Okay, so...
I know, right? I want to know that.
This is where it gets even crazier. Okay, so...
Welcome to a new season 2 of the Skittle Squad Podcast. We're happy to have you here. We're excited to kick off season 2 with a bang. My name is David Smith. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Paul Pfeiffer.
Hey, Paul, we made it to season 2.
I know. Yeah, that's like fantastic. Can you believe
exciting.
it? I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's exciting.
So for all of our new viewers, what would you tell them about the Skittle Squad? What are we all about?
So the Skittle Squad has always been intended to be a positive platform to highlight the LGBTQ community in Tampa Bay and beyond. Going through and talking to those people that are movers and shakers within the community that are doing really positive things for the community, highlighting businesses where, that are allies as well as supporting the community. Mm-hmm. So it's always been intended to be a positive thing and to bring people together instead of dividing people in the times that we're in right now.
Yeah, and I think we've been really fortunate. We're getting a lot of great support from the community.
Absolutely.
We have a exciting guest coming on.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's one of our favorite things doing, really, is talking to our guests.
Yeah, for sure.
So Alice Marie Gripp is coming on in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for her. She's going to be really great to talk to. So, yeah, we've got some exciting guests coming up over the next few weeks. We've got Brianna Summers.
Brianna Summers, yes.
Yeah, she is definitely a local celebrity here in the Tampa Bay area.
Such a huge fan of hers.
We've got Seduction.
Seduction D. Dickerson, who just won the Miss St. Pete Pride 2025.
Awesome. Congratulations and shout out to her. That is awesome.
Yeah, so she was fantastic. I was actually at the pageant and she was fantastic in all the categories that they had.
I saw some of the photos. It was absolutely amazing. Off the chain.
For sure.
It really looked like we were watching like RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right?
It was really unbelievable, those outfits. And a lot of folks don't realize how much preparation time goes into curating those outfits. And so anyway, I just have such a huge appreciation for them.
It was a lot of fun to go to the pageant and to see, everyone there and the 3 contestants that did win, because, there's Miss St. Pete Pride, there's Mr. St. Pete Pride, and then there's Mixed St. Pete Pride. Mm-hmm. All deserving of the title and will certainly, represent St. Pete Pride wonderfully throughout Pride Month and beyond. So
yeah, because happy Pride, by the way. Today is
Pride
June 1.
Day, yes.
So yeah, happy Pride. It's June 1st and during this recording, and we're really excited to celebrate Pride all month long. And this episode will come out, I think, probably right around the big
18th.
Pride celebration.
Yeah, the 18th.
Yeah. So that's going to be really great at the end of June. And then we also have coming up Dee from Fam League.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, you know Dee a little bit better
her.
than I do, but she seems like a really bubbly, awesome personality.
She is. And I Dee and I run into each other a lot at different events and so on and so forth. So, and if you remember when we had Abby on the show and we went to the Emo Cabaret, Family was actually one of the sponsors along with us, and their table was right next to ours.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I do run into Dee quite a bit within the community at different events and so on and so forth. So I'm excited to have her on because she's just high energy and she's a great ally to the community.
Yeah, I've chatted with her a lot via text. I'm really looking forward to chatting with her in person.
She'll
can't
be great.
wait for that.
Yeah.
So recently, I decided to plan a trip with my 3 sisters out to California.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit San Francisco. We're going to go to Alcatraz, do some Napa Valley wineries. But recently, you also did a West Coast trip.
I did.
And how was your experience over in Alcatraz?
So Alcatraz, and this is going to start feeling like it's one of those ghost hunter type episodes, because I will tell you, when you go to Alcatraz, and I went during the day, I'm not going at night like you are.
Okay, yeah, I'm
not
doing a night
that
tour.
brave. But it is literally they tell you that getting up to the prison is like the equivalent of walking a 13-story
Oh my.
building.
Okay.
And it does give you a workout. So
Wow.
you'll have buns of steel after you get done.
Okay, got you.
So, because it does wear you out. But I will tell you, I'm not the type of person, like I'm not an empath like you are. I don't really typically pick up on energies.
Right.
You know, I just don't. I don't have that gift. But I definitely picked up on something in the prison when I was in there. Like I had, you know, tightness in my chest, shortness of breath.
Wow.
I was like, I just couldn't, like there was something heavy.
Wow.
And that's why I was like texting you madly saying, oh my God, I'm like feeling all this energy. What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
You know?
And here I'm like at home thinking like, oh my God, what a drama queen. What is going on with this guy? And so I start, you know, chat GPTing like, what do you do? And I think I had given you some like tips with like white candles and like really just, yeah.
Right.
You're supposed to, from what I've read and heard over the years, is you're supposed to tell them to stay there. Like, don't bother me. Leave me alone. Stay where you are. Don't follow me. And so anyway, who knows if that, you know, works or not, but that's what I've heard.
Well, like a couple of days after that, we were walking around San Francisco, and I think it was actually in Castro where we came upon this metaphysical shop.
Okay.
And I walked in there and I told the lady right in there, I was like, give me anything that takes away negative energy. So this is why I wear
the evil eye.
The evil eye,
yes.
because
okay.
I was like, I don't want to bring anything back to me with me, you know, from San Francisco.
Is your other bracelet black charcoal?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I love black charcoal. It's supposed to really also help.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So she was like, I got you. This is what you need to get. So, you know, and Rick is like major eye roll the whole time. He's like, oh my God, like really? You know?
Well, he actually heard voices
yes.
at Alcatraz. And
yes.
Yeah. So you both had experiences
right,
there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you going at night, I'm sure the energy is going to be like times 10.
I'm really excited to check it out. I'm just going to have to tell them to stay there.
Yeah, just beware.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and it's not so much when you're outside the prison, it's more when you're actually in the prison that you really start to feel it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I will definitely report back, and I will let everyone here know how it went.
Yeah.
If you don't see me anymore after that visit, you know what happened.
I'll have to look for a new co-host.
Now, while you were there, because you were gone for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And while you were there, you had a Wi-Fi issue for a couple of days. What happened?
Yes. So what we did was we stayed in San Francisco for 4 days, and then we rented a car and we drove up the coast, and ultimately we ended up in Portland, Oregon, and then we flew back from Portland, Oregon. And one of the reasons why we decided to do that was because, number one, it's beautiful country out there, and it's great to drive up the coast of California and up the coast of Oregon. But the second reason was because, you know, we wanted to see Crater Lake, which is a really, really beautiful, I think it's like the deepest lake in the United States.
Yeah, and that's near Prospect, Oregon, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So on our way there, so there were a couple of things that happened. So on our way there, we stopped at this kind of tourist attraction place where you were among all the redwoods and you had to go on all these suspension bridges, and you're like 70, 80 feet in the air.
Oh, geez. That's like 8-9 story building.
I know. So you're walking across these extension bridges, and, you know, I was fine with that. But part of it was there was this metal circular staircase on the side of one of the trees.
Okay.
And you had no choice but to look down because you're trying to navigate the circular staircase and you're 80 or 90 feet in the air. And I'm like, Rick, I'm going to kill you when I get back on the ground, because I was totally freaked out. Like I was fine until then.
Okay. So I'm guessing you would not go on Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point with me.
No, I would.
Oh, you would? You're a
roller
coaster
coasters
fan.
don't bother me. Yeah, roller coasters don't bother me. It's just that circular staircases freak me out anyway.
Okay.
Like under any circumstances. But being on the side of a tree and you're 80 or 90 feet up in the air, no.
Well, you sent me some of those pictures. It was pretty impressive how high you were.
Yeah, we were up high.
Yeah.
And then then we got to Crater Lake. And the thing with Crater Lake was, we didn't realize it was like 32 degrees.
Oh, okay.
So there was like over 6 feet, like giant piles
I'm
of
guessing
snow.
you were at a really high elevation, right?
We were at a really high elevation. So, but the place that we stayed at, this is what really freaked me out. And we were there for 2 days. No Wi-Fi, no cell phone service, no television in the cabin. We were sleeping in a fucking toddler bed. I was like, and here we are, 2 giant people in, a toddler bed. And I'm like, and me, I mean, I've got to be on my phone like all the time.
Well,
so
I was
it was
some
torture.
intermittent messages from you that seemed like you were distressed.
Torture for me because I was like, I can't get on social media. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
I don't remember. There was something going on at that time that we probably needed you. I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember what it was either.
Yeah,
but I was like, oh my God. So I told Rick, I said, okay, you're not booking the hotels moving forward. So when we got to Portland, which was our next stop, I booked the hotel.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it was a nice hotel with a big giant king size bed and a big giant bathroom. And there was cell phone service and there was a TV and there was
free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, free Wi-Fi. So that's how I roll.
Right.
But the funny thing, going back to Crater Lake, I hadn't seen snow in I don't know how long. Like it's been like years.
Okay.
So Rick is like, he's like, get out of the car, climb up the snowbank and I'll take your picture, next to Crater Lake.
And just for context, these snowbanks, because I saw a couple of photos, they were like 9-10 feet high.
At least.
Yeah, they were higher than a car.
Yeah, yeah. So I get on top of the snowbank and he takes my picture. As soon as he's done, I'm like, bloop, flat on my back. I'm like, okay, I'm just ready to go at this point.
And there's no video of that?
There's no video of it.
Okay.
There is a picture of me that I sent to you where I'm actually right before the fall.
Okay. Yeah, the picture just looks like you're extraordinarily cold.
It was freezing.
And maybe a touch miserable.
I was miserable because it was so cold. I mean, we're from Florida. Our blood has thinned by now, so
100%.
you go somewhere where it's like 32 degrees or less and you're like freezing to death.
0 degrees.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Florida changes your blood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was a great trip overall. And, I'm glad you're going, and you should definitely check out Castro and Lombard Street.
Yeah, I've never been to San Francisco. I've never made it over there.
So much fun.
So definitely we'll check it out.
Yeah, great city. I would live there if I could.
Well, that is in the fall, so I'll be giving folks updates probably later in the year, but I can't wait to check it out.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we are going to actually pause for a quick break, and we're really excited to talk to Alice Marie Gripp in just a few minutes.
Yay!
Welcome back. We're excited to introduce our guest today, Alice Marie Gripp. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited to have you here. You wear a lot of different hats. You're an educator, an advocate, a drag artist. Maybe give us a little bit about your history, maybe your little journey. How did you end up in each role?
Yeah, it's crazy. So it all goes all the way back to Rainbow Preschool, where I was in the right place at the right time. I went to a preschool called Rainbow Preschool.
That's so cool.
Kind of crazy.
Right?
Kind of crazy.
It was destiny.
Right. Surprise. Which I drove by it the other day and they changed the name, so it's fine. But no, I always knew that I was different, and I always knew that I was part of the LGBTQ community, all the way back then. And my journey to education actually comes from when I was in middle school. I was bullied so much, so much, to the point where I had a school counselor that didn't really do anything for me. And so then it just became my goal to do better than them. I was like, in 8th grade, I could do your job.
Wow.
Right. And so then I found my way into education. And I was a school counselor during COVID. I was a school counselor during Don't Say Gay. I was a school counselor during all kinds of crazy stuff, which getting a middle schooler to talk to you over a camera, via Zoom, and be like, what's going on? Tell me your problems. while like everybody's sitting at the dining room table, you know, mom, dad, whoever they're with is like working, and it's like they can't talk to you, and it was so difficult. Then we get back and we're into Don't Say Gay, and I was so lost because I went from seeing so many students every day to seeing one or two because they felt like they couldn't come talk to me. And they couldn't see me. And I was like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
And so I really, really had to adjust my mindset on how I approached being an educator and find my ways of making sure that my students still had a safe space, which is how I got into the advocacy world via Equality Florida. They were a lifeline for me. I mean, they really got me the information that I needed so that I could continue doing my job, doing it so well to where I got Educator of the Year from Glisten.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was crazy too, because I also got that award on my birthday in New York City.
How much fun.
The cast of Abbott Elementary gave me the award.
What?
That's crazy.
Exciting.
Wow.
Crazy. And then because
That
it was my
is really
birthday,
cool.
Cake Boss made me a cake.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
Like it was you know, there are birthdays that I don't think
crazy.
anything could like trump
Yeah.
that one because
Yeah.
it was great, and I got to just really grow from that, and that really took my career in a different route once I got that award. And then a position came open at Equality Florida, and I was like, what do I do? Do I leave these kiddos who I love so much, and they really like became like my kids? Like I was like, these are like my family. Like I'm with them 8 hours a day. There's 300 of them that just run up to me, want to tell me everything. And I took the leap to support them in a different way. So now with what I do with Equality Florida, I work in our Safe Schools department. So I'm the regional manager for Tampa Bay, and I work directly with school boards, superintendents, district leaders, and talk to them about the policies and changes and things that are happening in their counties to make sure that our kids are still being protected, specifically our LGBTQ students, because they're the ones that are constantly being targeted right now.
Right. Yeah, so it sounds like your journey, it really flowed.
Yes.
Kind of the universe kind of just directed you. That is really awesome.
It fully did.
There's a couple follow-up questions I have, but I guess the fat person in me wants to know, what kind of cake did Cake Boss make you?
Okay, so
I know. I want to know that.
this is where it gets even crazier. Okay, so they made me this cake, and I did not eat it in the venue where the event was.
Yeah.
So they packed it up, put it in a box. So then I was like, it's already like the gayest day ever. It's my birthday. I just got an award from Glisten. And my mom was my date for that as well. And my mom was like, you know what? Let's really like gay it up. Let's go to Stonewall.
Oh,
So we take the cake to Stonewall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's so great.
I think they had like a strip contest going on. Next thing I knew, my mom is on stage, like cutting the cake and like giving it to men without shirts. And I'm like, what is happening? So you know what? I'm going to say it was like a funfetti cake. I never got to eat it.
Okay, well,
She was like
she gave it all away.
sharing it with
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
which
Oh
is
my
like,
gosh.
it's fine. Like
Right.
I'm like on this high. I'm like, this is the craziest day of my life.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful, beautiful cake. And I'm sure it was delicious. But I remember there was like rainbow in it. So I'm going to say funfetti.
yeah, it's so crazy when you have these huge events that happen, usually you just don't eat.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
you just don't
Right,
eat. Yeah,
And
you
it was
just don't
like
eat.
Yeah.
a full sit down. Like there were so many people in the audience. Cheryl Lee Ralph sang happy birthday to me.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
So
like
exciting.
That's
peak. I was like,
crazy.
this is crazy. And that was also like during Don't Say Gay too. And that was when like there was a huge focus on the state of Florida and a huge focus on what was happening. And so I got to present my speech to people from all over the country. And there was a lot of really big stakeholders there, like the National Education Association. They were present. There were some RuPaul's Drag Race queens that were present. And Nita West, I remember she was in the back, and I like finished my speech, clacked my rainbow fan, and she like stood up and was screaming. It was
Great.
It was great. It was a
The
really
clack
great time.
on the fan. Yeah, I mean,
That's like
yeah.
a thing now.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
girl,
it's
a
like
thing for sure.
CP Pride pageant.
yeah.
I mean, that's how you applaud now.
I've jumped out of my seat when they know how to clack that fan. They know how to clack
Yeah,
that fan.
for sure.
And I know how to clack a fan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, maybe
Absolutely.
at the end of the episode, you're gonna clack for us.
Sure.
We've got a fan right here.
Right, exactly.
Show us how to do it.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. So, There's so many follow-up questions I really have for you because I know that you were Miss Gay Southern Belle USA.
Yes.
And then Miss Golf Coast, you had mentioned Comedy Queen.
Yes.
So how do you think your drag persona is like influencing your advocacy work?
A lot.
A lot. Okay.
A lot, because from doing drag, I started doing drag. It was like, I just did like a talent competition at Enigma, and I was like, one-time thing. It was Christmas break. I was still a school counselor. I was like, I've always wanted to do it. I tried it, and then I won. And then the host at the time, I think it was Crystal Rains, she was like, "You're really good. You could like do this again." So then I did it the next weekend, and then I did it the next weekend, and it just like kept coming up, and it kept becoming a thing. And that was where I like really started to meet stakeholders and people in our community, and everything started clicking. Like you said, there was a flow to everything, and everything started clicking for me. Like, wow, now I'm able to be a part of the community in a different way, and I'm able to show up for the community in a different way. So everything that I do with my drag, I always want to give back, and I always want to make sure that like our voices are being amplified and being heard. So as soon as the microphone's in my hand, if I got something to say, I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
And then I just stumbled into pageantry. I love it. It's like addicting. It's so fun.
How do you prepare for those pageants? Do you have a process?
Stress first. Stress first. I definitely get in my head a lot, but I have such an amazing team.
Oh, good.
I come from the House of Gripp, so we are my drag parents, Mr. Gripp and Greta Gripp, they are crazy circus performers, and they definitely pushed me. And when I joined their house, they actually like put me in drag for the first time when I did that competition.
Okay.
And she was busted. She was a mess. And then like we just push each other, and they help me reach new heights. Absolutely. And they are my biggest supporters on top of my actual mom and dad too. I have such a great support system, and
So you were immediately in that house like right away from the very beginning?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
We were friends first.
Okay.
And then I had told them that I wanted to do it, and they had already been doing it. And they're like, okay, let's do it.
Because I know some queens we talk to, they're not in a house.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just find it interesting how some are and some aren't, and you know how that works. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that is cool. So I have a couple of questions for you. So just to go back on the bullying part, because I do think that's important and something that should be discussed. I feel like, my experience, and maybe David, your experience, is that, you're bullied when you're in school, and the principal and the counselors don't really do anything. Like I know in my case, when my mother dragged me to the principal's office to complain about the bullying that was going on in my case, his response was, boys will be boys.
Wow.
So nothing was ever done.
Yeah.
And it ended up being, what ended up happening was I ended up actually leaving school after my junior year to go straight to college because I couldn't stand the bullying anymore.
I did the same thing.
Right. So, and I feel like, now it's the same way, because we've taken a step backwards instead of moving forward. We're going backwards, and we're still seeing the bullying that's going on. But do you feel like people are now paying more attention to it than they did back then, or is it still an issue?
I definitely think that people are paying more attention. And my mindset when it came to me being in the counselor seat is when I look at a situation that's a bullying situation, I have to be the counselor for the bully and the student being bullied.
Right.
And both of those have their own things going on. So my student that's getting bullied, obviously I know the root of their problem is the bully. But then I have to find out too, what's the bully's root of their issue?
Right.
A lot of times I feel like with students that are bullying, something's happening to them as well, to where they're focusing whatever that energy is, negative energy, they focus that on a target.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting something somewhere else. So I definitely think there's a bigger focus on it. And I feel like a lot of educators really notice it. This might be a little controversial to say too, but a lot of things start at the home.
Yeah.
And if we don't get support as educators from the home, then we can't, it makes it really hard at school.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking when you were saying that, is they're probably seeing bad behavior.
Right.
And mimicking it, like you said, acting out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, back back when I was growing up, there wasn't social media. There wasn't
True.
those platforms. And now I think it's hyper-focused now because you've got those people behind the keyboards bullying,
Yeah, I mean, I have
social
a
media.
niece that's 13, and it's amazing the amount of bullying that goes on social media now.
Yeah, for
On
sure.
Snapchat and
TikTok,
all
the
TikTok.
comments, everything.
Yeah. So she
So
just anyway.
How do you deal with, because I'm sure there's been negative comments on we get negative comments on our,
Right.
about the show. How do you deal with negative comments that you get on your social media?
Which I get them pretty often. Being an educator and also being a drag queen has not always gotten a positive response.
Yeah.
But the way I handle negativity is to use it as an opportunity to educate. They're being negative because it's something that they don't know. It's something foreign to them. It's something that they can't really process. So I am always open to having a conversation with somebody that has something negative to say, because that's absolutely their opinion. Their negativity is still going to be their opinion. And I would hope that they would be able to be mature enough to have a conversation with me. I don't have to change their opinion, but I want them to hear my side, and we can hopefully find a way to respect one another. But that's not always the case, and sometimes they aren't open to having that conversation. And I would politely say, then look the other way. Block me, unfollow me, look the other way,
Right.
because I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, because I know where I'm going and the positivity that I do bring, and your negativity is not going to shake me.
Yeah, I think I was really astounded with the awareness you had when you were in the 8th grade. Because some, kids that are that age, they just would not have that awareness. So it was like really
Right.
your calling from the beginning. As a regional manager for Safe and Healthy Schools at Equality Florida, what initiatives do you have running right now?
So every district is different.
Okay.
I support a handful of districts in the Tampa Bay area. And the biggest thing is there was a settlement agreement on Don't Say Gay, Don't Say LGBTQ, House Bill 1557.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that I'm finding is that there are educators statewide that aren't familiar with this settlement agreement, which means they don't know what they can and can't do.
Interesting.
Whether that's in the
Okay.
classroom, whether that's in the counselor's office, the principal's office, there are folks that still don't know that there are solutions now and we have answers. Because back when all this came out, there was nothing. We had no idea
Okay.
what we could or couldn't do. Like if a student came to me, would I have to out them? That whole thing going
Okay.
on. Now there are answers to that,
Oh, wow.
but people don't know that.
Okay.
And they don't know those answers. So my biggest goal right now is getting that information not only to administrators, but really trying to get it to the teachers and getting it to trickle down to the people that are working every day face to face with students so that they can know what they can and can't do in the classroom. Whether it's wearing a lanyard or a pin, like a pride flag pin, or having a flag in their classroom, they can do that. Unless the school bans
Right.
or the district bans no flags, no pins, no buttons of any kind, then they're fully in their right to do that. And
Are you
and
getting
show that.
resistance from the administrations to be able to distribute and get that information out?
I wouldn't say that I'm getting resistance. Every district is different.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there are some that are super leaned in and that are super yes, let's get this information. How do we do it? And this is also where we lean on our community partners and our unions and our PTAs, because that's another way to get information
Right,
to them.
right.
They really help us get those trainings off the ground and present that information to them. So districts immediately, sometimes no, and it just takes time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Patience, time, persistence, education, eventually, hopefully engaging them. Yeah, I could see how you would reach out and they would just be totally disengaged.
Absolutely. And I think they're disengaged because of fear.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that makes sense.
everything that's happening in our state and in our country right now, there's a lot of fear. And the biggest thing I think moving forward for me too is having conversations that instill hope back into them.
Yeah.
And we can't let that fear take over, because then at the end of the day, we're all in the education world to make sure that our students are taken care of. And if they're fearful, then there's no way, because the kids are going to see that.
Right.
They're going to
Yeah.
start to experience fear, because believe it or not, our kids are listening. They know what's happening.
Wow.
And TikTok itself, TikTok, I think, is a blessing and a curse because
Right.
that's how they get their information, though. And and that's where they're getting it now. And they're seeing everything that people are saying and all of these things that are rolling out from our state and from our country. And it's starting to affect them. And so then they're going to start asking questions. And then if the adults in their lives don't have the answers to those questions, then where do they turn to?
So the students you're working with, do they know that you're a drag performer?
So when I was working, so I'm no longer school-based anymore.
Okay.
So now I'm full-time Equality Florida.
Okay.
When I was a school counselor, they did find out. And the kids, at the end of the day, they were like, okay.
Okay, that's great. Okay, good. Okay.
They're like, can I have Takis now? Like, where are the Cheetos? Cool. If you wear a wig, whatever.
Oh my gosh, that's
how do I
amazing.
pass?
Right,
They see it and they don't care. Like they looked at me as Mr. Quinto, their counselor.
amazing,
I was just that person in their life because I was always there every day. And so they saw it, and some of my kids are like, where are your kid-friendly shows? Like, when can I come see you? And when can I come? Yeah. And even parents. I've had parents and guardians and grown-ups come to things and be like, oh, this is amazing.
Wow.
I had students of mine show up to Pride 2 years ago and come see shows that I was doing. They came to the Pride Festival and got to see me on the main stage with their parents, and
That's exciting.
It was amazing. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
that's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like about you, and I haven't known you for very long. The first time I saw you perform was at the Cool Vibes event with Project No Labels and Tampa Bay Lesbians and Balance Tampa Bay.
Pocket Pounders.
Right,
Yes.
right. And you were off the chain. Like, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, great performance.
Thank you.
You had the crowd just going. How do you keep your performances fresh? Like, how do you keep people engaged? Because, with social media, and I'm guilty of this myself, you've got people looking at their phones. They're not really paying all that attention. And I know Veronica Fox has some tips on how she gets the crowd engaged. So what are your tips in keeping the crowd engaged?
Absolutely. I'm very loud. So that definitely helps. I mean, when I hit the ground, I make sure you know that I just did a split. And I will make sure you, like I said, I'll teach you how to clack the fan really loud. And I just do that with my legs. So I'm very loud. Not only that, though, but I am very present and I'm very in the moment, especially when I'm entertaining. The biggest thing for me is like when people are tipping, I'm not that girl that's like there for the money. I don't do drag for the money. Maybe a little bit for the fame, but we'll see how that goes. But I don't do it for that. I do it because I love to entertain and I love human interaction. So if you're tipping me, I'm not snatching. I am looking you in the eye. I'm not. Is that my camera? I'm looking you in the eye, just like this. I'm not looking at the dollar. I'm taking it from your eyes.
You're engaging.
Because you work for your money. That's your hard-earned money, and you're giving it to me. So now I need to earn it.
Right.
So I'm very present in the moment, and I think that is kind of what sets apart a lot of entertainers. There are people that just do it because they're like, oh, rent's due. Let me see how many dollars I can get. Run my music again so I can get more. No. You're there for an experience. I'm going to give you an experience and make sure that happens. So I try to be as present as possible with people.
That's great.
Yeah, it was so fun because we did have that event at Cool Vibes. We had you performing. We had Rafi Blue performing.
Rafi Blue.
It was really kind of like this magical, unplanned, just like correlation of these amazing events that happen.
It's
all
like
once.
I feel like everybody that
cool.
was at that event has been on the show. Like,
yeah, Claire was there.
Rafi Blue,
I think
Claire.
now it's me. And
then Who else from that event can we bring on?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, it was a super fun event.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you do so much. How do you kind of balance? Do you have like a daily routine or?
Yes. So I wake up. I am always running on caffeine because, I still work 9 to 5 and then I work 5 to 2. Like,
yeah, that's a lot.
Because it's a lot. It is a lot. It is a lot, but it's always, drink a lot of water for sure, hands down. I always like remind myself to hydrate. I used to have a little app on my phone that like would go off and tell me to hydrate, but now I'm really good about it, so it's good. But I do have a routine, and I work from home now, which is a totally different ball game for me because I would wake up every morning, go to the school, have my normal day at the school, but now I work from home, so I have to like launch myself out of bed.
Okay.
Because I'm not setting my alarm to get up super early anymore because all I have to do is walk down the hall.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I have to like launch myself out of bed and really like get into my routine, make breakfast, start checking emails, start clocking into meetings, start doing those things. And then when the day is over, shave again, glue the brows, put a wig on, and then go twirl. But there's definitely a routine to it, and I've found my groove. Now I just need somebody to come and clean my drag room because even today, like I opened my suitcase and it was just a mess because I was like, what do I wear? And that's always a constant issue of mine. But my drag room literally just looks like a tornado went through it at all times.
We should do an episode of drag rooms.
Yeah.
That would be so interesting.
Oh, that would be
I've seen a couple.
Yeah.
And they are, they're interesting.
Like,
they're awesome. They're fun. You have the wigs and the costumes.
Kind of like MTV Cribs.
Yeah,
like
Cribs.
show
Exactly.
us your drag room.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
we should definitely do that.
Speaking of MTV, because RuPaul, I think, started off on MTV, right?
I think so.
Yes.
And then moved over to VH1.
Yeah, I
do
think
you
so.
have a drag performer you would like to maybe collab with or collaborate with, or if you could meet them, or
Yes,
like
I
favorite?
do. Oh, so I have like a top two. First, I would say probably Jinx Monsoon.
Yes.
I love Jinx Monsoon, and their comedic timing is just
Absolutely
brilliant, and they're so
Brilliant.
entertaining. Yes, and
so funny.
the other one for me would probably be Raja.
Oh, yeah.
Raja is so creative, so beautiful, absolute model. The concepts, all of it are so amazing, and it's just also a fellow Asian entertainer. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you really do have that brand identity, like with Jinx. I mean, she is just so funny.
Absolutely.
Comedic timing is so amazing, and then she puts everything together. She's just so lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing. I think RuPaul's Drag Race has been on for 18 seasons?
Oh my
now,
gosh, like a lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
18, yeah.
crazy. And then
18.
there's now national franchises.
Right.
Yes, internationally,
Yeah, she is
all
so
of them.
unbelievable.
So many queens.
Yeah,
so many
for
queens.
sure.
Right.
Well, where can folks find you on social media? Do you have any events coming up?
Yes. You can find me on social media. It's at Queen Alice Marie on most things. Or if you want to find me as a boy, it's Alex Quinto. The biggest thing I have coming up for me is nationals for Gay US of A.
Okay.
So I will be heading to Dallas in July and bringing the crown back home to the Tampa Bay area. I am really trying my best. I have a super amazing team supporting me. And so that's my biggest thing. It's also Pride Month.
Yeah.
So it's going to be insane. So
Yeah.
seeing where I'm going to be, because I don't know how many shows I'm doing for Pride Month, because it's like every week I get another DM like, hey, would you want to do this? And I have a really big problem saying no. I'm just like, yes, I'll do it. Because I just love it. And I never sleep, so it works. So the biggest way to see like where I'm gonna be is definitely like social media, because I'm really good about posting my flyers and all that stuff. So
Paul, any final last words?
Well, I would just say when you do bring back the crown, please come back on the show.
Absolutely. And I will wear it. I will with the sash, and I'll put on a nice gown. I wanted to like give like a little just professional look today. I had a blazer, but I was like, no.
Oh, that
You look fantastic.
That looks really good.
I also feel like I look like a pirate, but it's fine.
Yeah, you look fantastic. So before we sign off, will you show us how to clack?
Absolutely.
Oh my
I
goodness.
surely
This
will.
feels like,
This
for
is
sure.
this is a nice quality Alice Marie
Oh,
Gripp
that's so
fan.
I
cool.
love
Yes,
that.
I
And
love
then
that.
so how I clack is I just all the pressure. If I don't do this
No pressure
right,
at all.
If I don't do this right, but if I clack,
Oh, there you
Nice.
go. Yeah, nice.
and she's just so pretty.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
I
That is really
love
cool.
it.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
Love it.
It's just the best too. I always bring a fan.
We're in Florida. We need it.
I know.
We need it,
right?
I always bring a fan because it's just so hot and
Yeah.
it's nice and I can make a lot of noise, but then I can cool off at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so to wrap it up, if you would like to be a guest on the Skittle Squad podcast, or if you would like to be an advertiser on the show, you can reach us at contact@theskittlesquad.com.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Whether it was on video or audio or both, please follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.